So the war on cash continues, and this is no joke. I mean, I don't know how many times I go into my coffee shop in the morning to get a coffee before work, and I see people paying on this, and it's like, I'm just perplexed by it. I'm like, you're buying coffee with your phone. Really? That's weird. Because I do everything in cash. And I save. I believe in saving. I believe in Ben Franklin. A penny saved is a penny earned. And I basically save in $100 bills. And you save them all over the place. They're in my toolbox at work. They're at my home. They're everywhere. And now this is an article from the Washington Post. It's time to kill a $100 bill. Seriously, you want to kill a $100 bill? How can you kill the $100 bill? Well, you know why? Because there's people using plastic in their damn phones to buy stuff. I mean, people, you're being trapped. You're being corralled. Yes, it's more convenient, but convenience is always the trick. That's how they got people to go away from gold and silver into paper currency to begin with, is because it was more convenient to carry paper dollars. And now they've taken real currency, real money out of the system to such an extent that none of you guys know what gold and silver really is. Yet banks buy gold all the time. I bet hardly half the people listening to any video that I make have really any gold other than what they're wearing on their finger. Seriously, and yet your banks, whether they're part of Goldman Sachs or Chase or whoever, they have hoards of gold, or they lie about having hoards of gold. But I mean, people, you don't even know what money is, and now money is your smartphone is money. See, this is not cool, because I don't like the banks. They don't know what they're doing. You know, how they create money out of nothing. Basically, when you go get a loan for anything, it doesn't matter. When you go get a loan, what you're doing is borrowing off money from your future. The bank is not giving you any of its money. That's a proven fact. It's called fractional reserve banking. They're not giving you any of their savings. They're creating new money and giving it to you. In other words, they're going into your future and they're borrowing your profits and then they're loaning it back to you at interest. But anyways, that's why I don't like the banks. The banks are crap, but now they want to kill the $100 bill. Seriously. And guess who wrote this piece of shit article? Lawrence H. Summers. He's not Larry Summers anymore. He's Lawrence, because they don't want you to remember that this is the guy who got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act. Now, might sound complicated to a lot of people, but it's very simple. It's about the Glass-Steagall was about investment banks and savings banks or lending banks being separate. The Glass-Steagall Act was created in the 1930s after the Wall Street collapse of the 1920s, because what they found out was banks were betting against their very customers they were giving loans to. That's not ethical. That's illegal. But here we have Larry Summers writing an article talking about getting rid of the $100 bill. Seriously. This guy's a crook already. He was a crook under the Clinton administration in the 90s. You wonder why the economy is so bad and you're pumped all these lies? Well, this guy's part of the problem. And you're going to laugh at what he's going to say. This is absolutely stupendously retarded. With this guy's an absolute retard. I'm telling you. Lawrence H. Summers. Yeah, he's not Larry anymore. He's Lawrence, of course. The Charles W. Eliot University professor at Harvard is a former Treasury Secretary, didn't I tell you that? And director of the National Economic Council in the White House. And that's all about lies. They're going to tell you unemployment is 5% and there's like 90 million Americans unemployed. Do the math. Oh, I know, it's Common Core, right? Whatever. That's one of my memes. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But anyways, he's writing occasional posts to be featured on Workblog about issues of national and international economics and policymaking. Like his policies of ending Glass-Steagall worked at all. Like this dude should have anything to say about policies. It was the number one reason why 2008 happened, because the Clinton administration under Larry Summers got rid of Glass-Steagall. So what you had was investment banks giving out loans and then betting against these loans and then selling people mortgages and bidding against them. And then when they fell on the mortgage, when the whole real estate market fell apart and people couldn't flip houses anymore, they got the property and they went to like AIG, which is American Investment Group, which they bought a hedge on, which is an insurance or a bet that, and they, again, it's a bet. It's betting that the mortgagers would lose. In other words, people like Larry Summers believes banks can give you a loan, bet against you. In other words, bet that you're going to fail against this loan, and then turn around, not only get your property, but get everything that you were going to pay into it to an investment group. Because that's ultimately what happened. Sad but true. Just read this fucking crooked motherfucker. And Harvard, like Harvard ever did anything for anyone except for those Wall Street white shoe fuckers who never done anything in their life, who've never went out and made a damn thing. All they have is financial instruments, which are worthless. They're just like the CDOs or what is it, collateralized debt obligations, which was nothing more than a package bunch of mortgages rated AAA that weren't even rated AAA because you had a lot of ARM mortgages in there. Which is, you remember the ARMs, the mortgages that were zero interest free up to a time, and the adjustable rate mortgages. That's the ARM, okay, and then they turn around and they went up, and people couldn't flip their houses. They lost the houses. So the bank steps in. When the bank doesn't step in, again, remember, investment banks that can invest against you actually gave you the loan, betted against you. In other words, got insurance against you because they knew you were going to fail, because they knew the market was going to fall apart, and they would get your property and made whole. And this is what the Washington Post or most mainstream media or publications believe in. Harvard's whatever, I can't say that, Center for Business and Government, which I am privileged to direct, has just issued an important paper by a senior fellow, Pete Sands, and a group of student collaborators. The paper makes a compelling case for stopping the issuance of high denomination notes, like the $500 euro and the $100 bill, or even withdrawing them from circulation. Well, even investing, and I certainly don't believe putting my money in the bank, because if you read the fine print before you sign any bank agreement, whether it's a savings or checking account, whatever it is, you're an unsecured creditor. In other words, you're an investor. In other words, you're investing in this bank, and yet you have no say over what bank policies are. You're a moron and you're an idiot if you put your money in the bank and then use one of these or a piece of plastic to do your transactions, because somebody knows everything that you do, everywhere that you go, everything that you buy. And you know what? That's none of no one's business but your own. Half of the security state really doesn't exist. It's really in banking. It's in your transaction. It's just a scare tactic to get people not to speak out on social media. They can't possibly take 350 million people transactions all the time and record them all in bulk data and know what the hell is going on. There's no way. But what they're going to do is censor you. And what they're going to do is monitor, maybe not me or you. We don't spend a lot of money. But what they're going to do is like your employer. They're going to see who your employer, where your employer's putting money, who your employer is vesting in. And that's who they're going to go. That's who they're after. Because as you'll see in a few minutes, this is not about convenience. This is about tricking people into buying into a system that you deem safe, that isn't safe at all. I mean, it's your money. You should be able to access it whenever you want. It should be at your convenience that you use the money that you earn. Remember that when the euro was being designed, in the late 1990s, I argued with my European G7 colleagues that skirmishing over seigniorage by issuing a 500 euro note was highly irresponsible and mostly would be a boom to corruption and crime, since the crime and corruption in significant parts would happen outside of the European borders. I suggested that, to paraphrase John Connolly, it was their currency, but would be everyone's problem. And I made clear that in the context of an international agreement, the U.S. would consider policy regarding the $100 bill. But because the Germans were committed to having a high denomination note, the issue was never seriously debated in international forums. They don't want high denomination notes because they don't want you to be able to save outside the banking system. They want you to be trapped in the banking system because you know what? They've had zero interest rates since 2008. It's like 7 years, 8 years. What's the next? They raised a 0.25%, and look what happened to the stock market. Look what happened to the economy. They can't raise rates. The economy won't sustain that. It's not a growing economy. They're really, in a nutshell, they painted themselves in the corner. This is in 1980. This is with Ronald Reagan. Okay, they can't raise interest rates to 20% to strengthen the dollar. So their idea is to take high denomination currency out of the system. So people are forced more and more to save within the banks. So you're trapped within the banking system. You can't get out unless you buy things. And then they have the ability to short silver. They have the ability in gold. They have the ability to naked short raw materials. It doesn't matter. It could be copper. It could be nickel. It could be anything. So let's get to the bottom of it. Why is it so bad? Negative interest rates. Some countries are using negative interest rates to fight slowdowns. Is the U.S. next? And it's from the Los Angeles Times. Yeah, we are because they can't raise rates. They raised rates 0.25 point in November, and the stock market is not doing well, and nothing's doing well. Unemployment's not doing well. The economy, they've lied about the economy. They've lied and they lied and they lied. Now all they do is lie. I'll leave both these articles up. You can read them. You're going to get trapped inside of a banking system with negative rates. In other words, you have to pay to keep your money into a system that you can't even withdraw it physically. You can't even get paper notes anymore. This is a big fucking trap. And you fools who keep using plastic in your stupid phone, you're going to see a bank holiday and you're not even be able to take your cash out. You know, that's the problem with it. We've already seen banking holidays, not in third world countries, not in Zimbabwe. We've seen it in Greece. We've seen it in Cyprus. And you'll see more in Europe. Portugal probably next, or maybe Spain. You're not going to be able to access your money. In other words, the money that you've worked and saved for all your life, you're going to have no access to. You're not going to be able to get. And then, like in Sweden or Denmark, if you actually use physical currency, the proprietors of the business that you're at will call the police. And they're not going to do it because they're malicious. They're going to do it because when they try to take the physical money, the cash that you gave them to the bank, the police will be called on them. So I hate to say that, but you are. I mean, everyone who uses plastic or their phone or whatever, you're a fool. You need to put. There's not even, to be honest, if you really think about it. Well, for instance, my parents died in 1990. We sold the house. You know, we split the money up. I got roughly not. I didn't really get that much, about 10 grand. I took it to the bank in 1999. Economy booming. Go to the bank and said, I want the money cash. I don't want to make a deposit. This was Bank of America, a check. This is your check. Give me the cash. I had to wait a week for the cash. They don't even have that much money in circulation that they give me $10,000 in the city of Detroit at the headquarters of the commercial bank in downtown. They didn't even have that much money cash. The whole banking system is messed up. If you think these guys know what they're doing, you're a fool. And you know what? They're going to take you for everything you have. And you know what else? You fucking deserve it. You're a fucking fool. And you deserve to let these people fleece every dime, penny, ounce of wealth you have in you. You deserve it all. You deserve every bit. Only intelligent people are allowed to keep their stuff.